what it's like living in a rooftop tent, and some more detailed information about the tent, the roof bar racks, and tips and tricks to what it's like actually living in this place. Living in a car with a rooftop tent is a completely different experience to living in a van. It means you have a relatively clean space all the time. You just leave all your junk down in the car, and the bed is nice, but it does mean that every morning you have to take everything out. Well, most things out. You can leave your bedding in there. It does mean that whenever you want to drive somewhere, you have to put everything away. So we typically don't put it up until we know we're going to be in for the evening. Not that it's a lot of work to put it down, but it's just a little bit nicer not to. This is the Dune 4x4 120 centimeter rooftop tent, and while neither myself or Joe have tested the backpacker's favorite King's tents, we've seen how long it takes to put a tent down. Just by that, we appreciate this tent so much more. So there's not a lot of information about smaller cars with rooftop tents on them out there. And luckily for everyone, Joe's done the research for it, and I'm pretty sure he'd be pretty mad at me if I took the credit for it. So I'll just let him tell you all the details.
So our car is a Honda CRV 2004 model. We have a Dune rooftop tent. So the roof weight rating for our car is 75 kilograms, and that's a dynamic weight. So basically that means the amount of stuff you can have on the roof whilst the car is moving. You also have static weight, which is a whole other story, but you don't really need to worry about the static weight. So the roof rack that we mounted onto the car is a Pro Rack P16, and that's a 1,200 millimeter bar width. With that you need the K452 fitting kit as well. That's not included with the racks, so that's something you have to buy separately, which I didn't know actually when I bought the bars in the first place. Depending on your car, these bars fit very differently. Our car is quite easy. We have a sort of fixed rail system, so our roof rack we just bolted down into the fixed rail. Other cars you have to attach them to the doors, and various different sliding rail systems. Some of them can't hold as much weight as others as well, so that's something to look out for. Depending how much weight you can put on your car, all depends on how your roof rack is fitted. So fitting of the roof rack with a fitting kit is very simple. It took me around an hour to get them on, and it was pretty much pitch black the entire time, so it shows how easy they are. The tools you need to fit the kit are included as well in the fitting kit, so that makes things nice and easy. You don't need to have an extended range of tools to get it done. So the tent itself is a Dune 4-wheel drive. It's 120 centimeters. It has an internal rating of up to 300 kilograms. So you can fit 2 very large people in there, 2 people and some gear as well. Probably wouldn't recommend putting too much stuff in, just because it's big enough for 2 people, but not too much for extra gear as well. The tent has a waterproof rating of between 3,000 to 5,000 millimeters. But recently we've stayed in it for about 3 or 4 days in heavy rain. And it stood up, didn't leak at all, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. It stood up for us really well. So the tent itself weighs 40 kilograms without the ladder and 46 kilograms with the ladder. Now that's a really light weight for a rooftop tent. Most of the others, especially for the same price, come in way higher. So for the King's tent example that everybody seems to have, with the ladder it's around 57 kilos. So the Dune tent on its own is around 11 to 16 kilograms lighter, which basically covers the weight of the awning on top of the roof rack as well. Packed dimensions of the tent when it's down, 225 by 142 by 30 centimeters. To fit the rooftop tent ourselves as well. Marina and I managed to fit it in the car park in the sunshine. Again, it probably took us around an hour to get it fitted, but thanks to that relatively low weight, it was really easy for us both to fit. So the awning we have is a Dune 4-wheel drive 2x2 meter awning. Again, it comes with everything you need to fit it to the car, and really easy to fit onto the roof bars we have, so that worked out really well for us. So the awning itself weighs around 10 kilograms, which is basically what we saved in getting the Dune tent over the King's tent. So we've still got plenty of leeway between we reach our dynamic weight of 75 kilos. So all on all, on our roof at the moment is around about 51 to 56 kilos. So we've still got about 20 kilograms to play with. You see a lot of cars driving around with the King's rooftop tent. They've got surfboards, they've got jerry cans, they've got all sorts of things on top of the roof as well, which will be way overloading their rooftops. So it's simply not very safe to do for a start, especially if you're going to take it off-road. All of that weight, uneven weight, causes problems, can damage the car, break the roof rack, cause a whole lot of problems, so we don't want that.
It can easily sleep two people, and it's a nice way to get away from the messy car that's underneath you. Often when we stay in campsites, we upgrade to the powered sites and just run a cord up to the tent. It just makes life a lot easier. So we've been in floodings, we've been in the outback, and this tent has held up in all of the conditions. And well, I might add, in the rain, it dries really quickly. In the heat, if there's a bit of wind, there's nice airflow through it. Otherwise, it can be a bit sticky, but it's a shelter anyway. Rooftop tents are awesome. They're so cool and so convenient. I think it's a completely different experience to having a van or something like that, because you can go on more roads, you can go on more 4x4 roads, and you don't have to pay as much for your car. Linda is a 4x4. She's a bit precious, so we don't really take her on any of the outback roads, let's say, but you can definitely get something cheaper than the vans around here and still have maybe more experiences with them, just because it's so convenient with the tents. And yeah, it is definitely for fast traveling pace, just because if you're gonna set up and stay somewhere for a while, you're taking it up and down and up and down and up and down a lot, and it's not that hard. It just gets a little bit annoying if you're trying to get somewhere, if you're just like going to the shop for 2 seconds. But I guess it depends on your traveling needs. So I definitely recommend it, but do your research. Figure out how you want to travel. I've left links to all the gear and gadget that are on Linda in the link below, so check it out. And I hope you enjoy traveling Australia. It's an amazing place, and no matter how you choose to travel, you're gonna have a blast. Just keep an open mind, an open heart, and go explore. Alright, see you next time. Do you like the rooftop tent?
Yes.
Would you get it again somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it's the best tent on the market at the moment. I think it's the 10 or 11 kilos you save makes it feel much safer, and the spread out weight. For those who don't know, the King's tent folds down smaller, so it doesn't take as much space up on the roof, but it means all of that weight is a bit higher up and in one spot, whereas the Dune tent spans the whole length of the roof. It means that weight is much more spread out and makes it much more even on the car. You feel it much less when we're driving around as well.
And when's Joe's Roads gonna get a video, a rooftop video?
This is actually going to be published on Joe's Roads. So, yeah.
Thanks for appearing on the show.
Thanks. It's all my information.